pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our April Board of Supervisors meeting. Lisa, Kim, please note that 2 of the 3 supervisors are here. Do we have any public comment on any of the agenda items before we vote on them tonight? Seeing none, we will move to motion to amend the agenda.
Yep, I'll make a motion that we amend the agenda to include the 2025 paving bid under new business.
I'll second that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, we got 2 presentations tonight. First up is Miss Yoangelis Cedeño.
Yep.
YWCA counselor and educator who will give a presentation about Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
Perfect, thank you. I have a very short, quick presentation. My name is Joanne Halise. I go by Jo. I am a counselor and educator with the YWCA, the Sexual Assault Prevention and Counseling Center. So the reason why I'm here today is because April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and we are doing a bunch of different partnerships and things throughout the community to. So we are the Lancaster County's designated rape crisis center. We offer free counseling and therapy for anybody impacted by sexual abuse, harassment, and assault, including significant others. This is family members, siblings, cousins, roommates, literally anybody that's impacted by sexual abuse, harassment, and assault. We offer free counseling. We also offer free medical and legal advocacy. What this looks like is that we can go with individuals to any of the local hospitals if they are getting a sexual assault forensic exam. We're able to be with them and just support them, be somebody there with them in the room, support and just provide information, as well as go with them to any of the local police stations or precincts to provide support if they're going to file a report, or if they need any support navigating the systems, as well as go with them to any court proceedings such as preliminary hearings or anything like that. We also offer primary prevention programming, and we offer those at schools as well as churches and local businesses. This can go into bystander intervention trainings, as well as trainings like Sexual Harassment 101 for workplaces and things like that, and also programming for parents to just know how to better support their kids throughout the community and navigate, obviously, this really, really hard topic. And then lastly, we offer a free 24-hour hotline that anybody can call, any community member, any professional can call on there for questions to learn how to navigate a situation, or if they just want resources, we're also able to do that as well. And we just want to say thank you for having us here to present on our services, and we're here to serve the community. So please take advantage of the services.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I did bring some goodies in the back. I didn't bring a lot, but there is information of all of our services, hotline information, as well as the rest of the events that we have going on throughout Lancaster County throughout the month of April. Like I said, I didn't bring a lot, but if you want to know more information, you can find us on our social media website at just YWCA Lancaster, or our website at ywcalancaster.org. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When you said goodies, I thought you meant food.
Oh, no food. No food, I'm so sorry.
I got a little excited. All right, next up we have Ms. Erin Fick of SEK CPAs and advisors who will present on the Board of the Township's annual audit report for fiscal year 2024.
Yeah. So just want to introduce myself. I'm Erin Fike. I'm a senior associate at SEK, and this is now my 9th year of working on the audit here for Lancaster Township. I believe you guys got a packet. Okay. I'm just not going to read all the words because I don't want to put you guys to sleep. So basically what we as a firm are responsible for is performing an audit in accordance with the generally accepted auditing standards, forming and expressing an opinion of the financial statements, and then communicating any significant matters that we might find to the board. And then for the audit, it provides a reasonable but not absolute assurance that the financial statements do not contain a misstatement due to fraud or error. It's basically impossible for us to go and look at every single transaction that happens throughout the year, so we cannot say that we are absolute assured that there's no statements. The audit does not relieve management or those charged with governance from your responsibilities. And it's also not a fraud investigation. We are on the lookout for fraud, but that's not the main point of the audit. And the responsibilities of the township, they're just responsible for preparing and freely presenting a financial report in accordance with the DCD, designing, implementing, evaluating, and maintaining effective internal controls, providing us with unrestricted access, which we didn't have any problems with, informing if there's any kind of fraud or significant deficiencies, informing us of any subsequent events that would happen after the year, and then also providing a written representation letter at the end of the audit. So just kind of planning a little snippet, we have a basic understanding of the township's internal controls, but we're not required to like test every internal control. And then at the end of the audit, we compile a list of adjustments that we have identified, which I usually sit with Lisa and go through which ones she'll make in the QuickBooks. And then adjustments are at the last, I think, 3 pages of the presentation. And for our audit results, we had an unqualified opinion, or unmodified opinion, which is the highest level that you can get. It's basically like an A+. There's 4 different types, but you guys are good. And then as a firm, we are required to be in compliance with all ethical requirements regarding independence. So we make sure there's safeguards in place that we remain independent as your auditors. And as far as significant accounting policy, there's really no changes during the year to your accounting policies. On page 6 here, we have, we're required to disclose if there are any difficulties with management, which we have none, and no disagreements with management. And we also have to disclose if the township had consulted with other independent accountants, which is there was none for the year. And then we'll skip over to matters of internal control. Like I had said, we don't actually test internal controls, but we have a good understanding of internal controls. So as through the audit we go through, we can identify any deficiencies, significant deficiencies or material weaknesses that may have occurred. And then on page 9, we did have one matter of internal control labeled as a material weakness of internal control. During the audit, we found that there is some differences between the book balance on the bank recs and the actual balance in the GL system. And this was mainly due to checks that were being backdated after the bank reconciliation had been happened. And then and just recommendation that the checks be cut during the year. So if it's a 2024 check and you're cutting the check in 2024, that's correct. But in 2025, you can't then date it 2024 to try to get in the 24 budget or 24 GL. And we've talked with Bill and Lisa about that, so they understand going forward to check, make the checks the date that the check actually occurred. And then we have some financial highlights for the general fund. Just a few I want to point out. The interest, rents, and royalties increased quite a bit from 2023. And that's mainly from the Verizon $360,000 payout that occurred during the year. And then as far as expenditures, it wasn't too much deviations from 2023. Highway and streets went down a little bit. And that's mainly from the ARPA projects that occurred in 2023. And then the transfers out increased quite a bit, but that was from the $1.2 million in transfer from capital reserve for the police building. And as far as fund balance goes, general fund decreased a little bit. Highway aid decreased a little bit, kind of stayed the same. Capital reserve increased, that's mainly from that $1.2 million transfer that happened during the year. Overall, it wasn't that much of a change for all the fund balances combined. And then the last couple of pages are just the journal entries that we proposed during the audit, which I'll just go through that with Lisa then when she goes to book them. Any questions?
None for me. Ben? No?
No.
All right. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
All right. Secretary's report. Do we have any issues with the minutes from last month?
Nope.
All right. Moving on to treasury report.
All right, the general fund and investments, escrows and liabilities, $6,314,963.93. Highway aid fund, $1,427,026.17. Capital reserve fund, $2,816,060.05 for a total of $10,558,050.15.
Great. We'll follow that for audit. Monthly bills.
The bills, general fund paid $409,297.21. No unpaid bills for a total of $409,297.21. Escrow fund paid $7,588.31. There were no unpaid bills, so the total is $7,588.31. State highway fund $29,448.06. There were no unpaid bills, so the total is $29,448.06. Capital reserve fund paid $20,890.13. There were no unpaid bills, for a total of $20,890.13. The total paid bills are $467,223.71. I'd make a motion that we pay the bills.
Second, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, we're moving into reports. Lafayette Fire Company on the east side, March 2025. They had 11 calls for service in Lancaster Township. Lancaster Township Fire Department, west side. Anybody?
As noted in here, we have 36 calls for the month. Of those, no notable ones. Fortunately, there were no reported casualties, no fatalities, no injuries, both civilian and fire department wise. Some points of interest. Previous Chief Roy had applied to the State Fire Academy for a grant. We were able to secure that primarily for debt reduction. So that was good news for us. Our current fund drive, which is earmarked for the new firehouse, total of 4 mailings. We mailed out to about 12,000 residents. Of that, we saw about a 30% return. So a little less than what we like to see, but you know, in all, we can't complain. Upcoming events this Saturday, we're having an alumni breakfast. We're inviting all of the past members to the firehouse, having breakfast and a social gathering. And as always, you guys are more than welcome to come. Guys, enjoy seeing you there. We do have a community day scheduled May 31st, 10 to 2. Trying to get out into the public and get the community into the new station and see if we can generate some interest. There is a shred event June 7th, 9 to 12. It's a free event. Again, just trying to get the public through the station and become engaged a little bit. On a political note, with the political happenings at the federal level, the fire department, and this is nationwide, is seeing a little bit of concern. As I mentioned, we were able to secure a state grant. We also were able to secure a federal grant for SCBA's under previous Chief Roy. That is still open. There's some concern that, you know, with the current happenings, that could go away potentially. So if given the opportunity, we would appreciate politically if you would pressure some of the state and federal guys to make sure that funding stream is still maintained for us. So other than that, any questions for me?
What was the amount of the grant that you got from the state?
I believe it was about 14,000.
14,000?
Yeah.
And I'm unable to come to your breakfast this Saturday. When's your next one?
Third Saturday.
Third Saturday.
Third Saturday. Yeah.
All right, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Recycling report, March 2025, 15.29% of the trash was recycled. Safety committee minutes and sewer reports and printed copies of all other reports are available at the township office for a nominal fee and can be viewed and printed from the website. We're now going to move into workshops. The first up is planning and zoning, Mr. Donnelly.
Good evening, thank you. As you're probably aware, grass started growing out of nowhere, and we won't be long till we're starting to get some calls on that. We're being proactive and working that already. It's starting to kick up to our busier season now. The only thing I have big news for you is the property reinvestment program. I wanted to give you a little bit of information about that. We had 71 applications this year, which is, to my knowledge, the highest year by far that we've had. Out of those, we did some changes to the program, and we gave 19 awards, of course pending all the work being done and so forth, paperwork being submitted. Our goal is by September 2nd to have all those closed out, and then we'll see if there's any additional funding left over, unclaimed awards and so forth. And then we're going to reevaluate from there what is left that we can distribute. Outside of that, that's all I have.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, Wolf Dunn's not here. In that case, Public Works to Mr. Demigrov.
Thank you. A few things to touch on here. One, I think we finished up the tree group meetings with the presentation. That went off very well. We had some great conversation, leading to some good changes coming our way. We've hired on a part-time parks position. Nick started Monday. It's a great addition to the Parks Department, and hopefully we'll be able to hang out for a year, part-time to help out the Parks Department grow a little bit. We've also started the ad position for a full-time opening for the Public Works Road Crew, which has led me to a very short amount of time receiving 140 applications that I'm currently working through.
Wow.
So I'm just glad that we got a lot of interest in the position. A few notes, obviously with the police station next door, we've been really busy with that. Looks great. The guys finished up over there, so a little bit of work to do with the police chief and helping them move. We've also been working with the chief and setting up speed collection databases throughout the township. So we've been noting them in our GIS system, which is going to become extremely helpful when we start to figure out where the speeding issues, if we have any, exist. A few other items here for you. One is before you tonight is the paving bid that got set out on Friday. I don't know if we can talk about that at that time. My recommendation there was presented there with a low bidder, with the recommendation for the base bid with options B and C. That would be a new Enterprise stone and line for the amount of $438,394.83. So if you have any questions on that, I can either answer it now or we can talk about it later. And then finally, I wanted to note the additional position for our communications and outreach coordinator position that we've written up and presenting tonight, not only to the creation of the position, but also to the appointment of Tony Dasher to that position, in addition to his public works administrative role, which is very well deserved to him. So, questions? Happy to answer them.
None for me. Next up, Police Chief Getz.
Okay, so for March of 2025, the police department handled 456 calls for service, brings us to 1,290 calls for service for the year. 15 crashes, 0 fatal crashes, 75 crashes for the year. Probably about half those crashes were in the month of January. So, one of our goals is to reduce crashes. I think the more visibility has really dropped the crashes. February and March, the crash totals have been significantly lower than January when we first started. So I'm hoping the visibility is creating less problems and crashes out on the road. 110 traffic citations for a total of 288 for the year. 56 written traffic warnings. That's 142 for the year. 16 misdemeanor felony arrests, 41 for the year. 5 DUI arrests. We're now at 10 for the year. We just got our e-filing, went live for traffic citations and non-traffic citations. So non-traffic citations are summary criminal incidents like harassment, disorderly conduct. They're a little easier to capture now than they were trying to capture them in the Cody system. We can capture them now in the track system. So we had 9 summary criminal, they're called non-traffic citations for March. We had some in the first 2 months, but it was a little harder to capture because we were using some borrowed forms from another PD. So it's a little easier now. No overdose incidents or fatalities. Obviously, we had the ribbon cutting tonight. We're hoping to be, I'll say, fully operational, independent. I'm hoping by the end of this week, probably be a couple days of in between, working out of here for some stuff and over there for some stuff. Our civilian aide started in March, so she's been up and working with the Public Works, doing the street sweeping project, and then she's just kind of getting up and running with learning some of the township ordinances on what she can do going outside of the street sweeping, just educating her and getting her up and running and up to speed. So her name is Brittany Becker, if you guys haven't met her. She's been great though. So we have 2 part-time receptionists starting Wednesday for the police department. So the police department will have a receptionist at the front lobby between 8 and 4 p.m., 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. The only other thing that's kind of in the burn we're working with right now is the SRO position with the Lancaster City School District. I composed what we're calling an MOU, memorandum of understanding with them, presented it to them, and they're reviewing it right now in the hopes that it can go before their school board for a vote. I think we've missed April, it'll probably May, but the hope is to have that SRO, if it gets approved, up and running for the 25-26 school year, mainly stationed out of Wheatland, but also covering the elementary schools in the township.
Is that an additional officer?
It would be.
Okay.
Yeah. It would be funded by the school district. So, I don't know if you have any other questions on it, I can answer some more questions, but yeah, it will be another officer.
None from me.
Nope.
Any questions?
Good. Thank you.
Next up, Township Manager, Ms. Laudine.
If you recall, last fall, we had a number of folks come in with concerns about speeding as a result of the incident or accident that occurred on River Road. We had made a commitment at that time to do some work toward trying to both investigate and reduce accidents and speeding throughout the township, but specifically in that River Road corridor, which would include and did include in the comments Wilson, Wheatland, Jackson. I want to give you a little bit of a report back. I hope to have some more detailed recommendations for you in May specific to River Road, but in general, let you know where we're at. So I think you've noticed, and I think the folks in the neighborhood would notice, a significant increase in police presence in that neighborhood. We did find, as we collected the data, that we've seen over the last 12 to 24 months an uptick in speed throughout those neighborhoods. We think that is probably due to a decrease in police presence throughout the township, because we're seeing similar speed numbers in every collector and arterial road in the township. We had made overtures towards Manheim Township to do some additional speed detail. They never took advantage of that. They didn't. We offered them some money to bring some folks in for overtime, and I think the lack of interest on their part to have a real presence here and specifically to work on speed detail may have contributed to the increase in some of those speeds. Conversely, Chief Getz has folks out 24/7. And in coordination with the data we've collected with the Public Works Department to identify those areas where we need to have a presence. And we've had a number of stops, mostly generating at this point warnings to make people aware that we're out there and they can't be rolling through stop signs, they can't be parking close to corners, and they absolutely can't be speeding. And I hope that's had an effect. In addition to that, we painted lines in 5 or 6 locations that are going to be specific identified spots for speed enforcement. They include, among other places, River Road, Wilson, Abbeville Schoolhouse, Bean Hill, and Wabank. We'll get patrols out on those areas, and then we have a list of other places that we want to continue to add as we go on. But those lines all went down last week, and we'll begin doing speed enforcement in short order. Specific to River Road, which was talked about quite a bit, we did see a slight increase in speed, but not anything that allowed us to meet the warrants for stop signs or any other more aggressive speed control mechanisms. But one thing that we all acknowledge is for sure we have a mixing of both pedestrian traffic as well as vehicular traffic in that corridor with very bad sight lines. And any increase in speed just exacerbates that conflict between pedestrians and motorists. I'll come to you with a more detailed plan, but before we started going down that road, I don't mean that to be funny, but before we start heading in that direction, I want to make sure that what we're looking at doing is okay with you folks. And basically what we think we're going to do over there on River Road that'll be effective is to reduce the cartway. So to narrow the lanes and make them 9-foot travel lanes instead of where they are now. They vary somewhere between 10 and 12 feet. And shift those lanes from being in the middle of the road, but shift them towards the Little Conestoga side of the road. And what that'll do is the lane reduction should slow down speed, but that will create a very wide shoulder on the non-river side of the road and use that as an opportunity for a pedestrian pathway. So we'll move the pedestrians all the way to the east side, all the vehicular traffic on the west side, and that'll give folks safe passage from, say, Center Road all the way up to the Wheatland-Jackson intersection. Now, what that looks like, we're not completely sure yet. That could be just a wider shoulder. That could be a segregated shoulder not only by lines, but some sort of reflectors. Or what we think is probably most effective are the large white bollards that we've put out. They're not just the flexible bollards that we used to use, but they're a little bit more substantial and do a good job of providing a little bit of protection and forcing the motorist to stay well outside of that lane. We have to look at cost, we have to look at impact, and in any case, if we use those, we would use the ones that we have now, which are easily removed, and we would then propose that they get removed seasonally so that we can do winter maintenance and make sure that we keep River Road free from all traffic. So again, we have to do a little more work on cost, but we think that if we present in May, if you tell me to start moving forward now in that direction, we can put together some options in May, we can start to schedule the work, and we think that we can have those facilities installed within a couple of weeks of May's meeting. I would also, if we're gonna go in that direction, that I put out that information sometime in the next 2 or 3 weeks publicly, so that folks who are interested, and if they have opinions on those proposals, that they're able to come informed to the May meeting, and we're not presenting information in May in a way that they have to digest it and analyze it and provide feedback all at the same time. So that's kind of my game plan for River Road.
Yeah, you and I have talked about this quite a bit. My vote would be to move forward with your plan now. And I know you may want to talk with Steve about it too, but that's my vote.
Well, I'd like to,
Take a look at the costs and.
okay, I'd like
yeah.
to do a little bit more homework and
Great.
bring that back, and we have a commitment to the public. I made a commitment to the public to say before we put anything in the ground, that we'll present it to them and give folks an opportunity for feedback. So I'd like to make sure that I do that before we start drilling holes in the ground. But
Oh, yeah.
but if we're moving in the right direction, then we'll keep moving in that.
I would move in that direction.
Great.
That's it. Questions, concerns?
No?
All right. Announcements, Tuesday, April 15th, at 7 PM is the Planning Commission meeting. Friday, April 18th is a holiday, Good Friday. The township office is closed. Tuesday, April 22nd at 7 PM is the zoning hearing board meeting here at 1240 Maple Ave. Monday, May 12th, 2025 at 6 p.m. is our next Board of Supervisors meeting. Old business, there is none. Planning and zoning.
Mr. Chair, LTPC 314 Wheatland Presbyterian Church financial security reduction. I'd make a motion that we approve a request of Aaron Bricker from RGS on behalf of the developer for a reduction of financial security to $115,526.45 for the Wheatland Presbyterian Church final land development plan. This was a recommendation of Benton Weber.
Second that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Mr. Chair, LTPC 313 Little Conestoga Blue Green Corridor and Conestoga House Stream Restoration financial security reduction. I'd make a motion that we approve a request from Brent Good at ELA on behalf of the developer for reduction of the financial security to $90,327.22 for the Little Conestoga Blue Green Corridor and Conestoga House Stream Restoration Stormwater Management Site Plan. This was also a recommendation of Ben Weber.
I'll second that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. LTPC 33280 Jackson Drive Stormwater Management Site Plan. They've requested a time extension. We simply are acknowledging that.
Acknowledged.
LTPC 325 Lancaster Country Day School financial security reduction. Make a motion that we approve a request from Tyler Hill at ELA on behalf of the developer for a release of the financial security for Lancaster Country Day School stormwater management site plan. And that was also a recommendation of Ben Weber.
I'll second that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. New business.
Resolution number 2025-05. Resolution to amend the Lancaster Township non-uniform pension plan administered by the Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement System pursuant to Article 4 of the Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement Law, agreeing to be bound by all provisions of the Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement Law as amended and as applicable to member municipalities.
I will second that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. The creation of the Communications and Outreach Coordinator job description and the appointment of Tony Dastra for that position. I make a motion we approve that we appoint Tony Dastra for that position.
I will second that.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah, please.
And there's
Sure. Part of this job and part of the thing we're challenged to do here is have transparency. That transparency goes beyond just letting folks know what we do or having public meetings, but really to do community outreach. We're creating this position tonight, but really the guy who created the position was Tony himself. He has brought a higher level of accountability and a higher level of awareness to all of us and what we're obligated to do. He's actively involved in the city, but he's brought that passion for government and for community here to Lancaster Township, and I count myself as one of the people who is grateful for the challenge that he's put to us. Starting with the videoing, with the increase of the quality for our newsletter, for the renovation and increased quality of our social media outreach, and for the website. Tony's been responsible for all of this, so I'm really grateful for you creating this position. I think it reflects what he does every day, and I hope it inspires him to continue to challenge us and continue to be that liaison between the public and what we do every day here.
Thank you.
I'll also echo that. I think Tony has done an extraordinary job with handling the whole communications infrastructure. I am happy to second and approve your motion.
Congratulations.
Wait, hold on. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Yeah.
All right. Congratulations, Tony.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It does mean a lot.
Yeah. One last item, 2025 paving project bid. I would make a motion that we approve the recommendation by Public Works Superintendent Devin Groff for the 2025 paving bid to be awarded to New Enterprise Stone and Lime for $438,394.83 for the following roads: Wilson Avenue, Gordon Road, Oak Lane, Hillside Drive, New Garden Avenue, and Quarry Lane. 4 bids were received, and we have received that information.
All right, I'll second that. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, guest recognition participation. This is the part where we ask the public for comments and concerns. We ask that you please state your name and your address, and that you please go up to the podium.
I guess that's it. Okay, thank you for your time, gentlemen. My name is Brenda Ravel. My husband Dylan. What happened to me, okay, so I'm gonna start from the beginning. I rolled through a stop sign and I got pulled over on Spencer Avenue. I understand that what I did was wrong and I was ready to face the consequences. However, it precipitated a whole bunch of events that I am not responsible for and I had to suffer the consequences for. And if nothing else, I feel like the public needs to be aware of what happened. So the police ended up confiscating my driver's license and towing my car.
The tag off your car, not your driver's license.
Sorry, my license plate. And towing my car.
Impounding the car, right?
I was directed to come here by the Office of the House of Representatives, Ismail Smaid Wade L, District 97, because I've been through many avenues to try to handle the situation. I ended up having to go and buy a new driver's license the next day.
The tag.
Sorry, the plate. I had to buy a new plate the next day, and my car got towed to the tune of $350. So I was out over $400 for this incident. PennDOT has had a program in place since 2018 where they are discontinuing old license plates. Mine was over 20 years old.
But it looked brand new.
They had sent us a letter saying that they were implementing this program and that I would be receiving new plates in the mail within 2 to 5 weeks. They sent me that letter on March 10th. They sent out the new plates on March 26th. And at the same time that they sent out the new plates, they discontinued my old plates. I was pulled over on March 28th. And the police apparently weren't aware of the program. So I have a letter here from PennDOT saying that during the time of when the new registration plate is in the mail, law enforcement must understand that the registrant must continue to use that license plate that they have, even though it comes up as a dead tag. Law enforcement who come across the situation should run the vehicle by the VIN, which will show the current registration plate assigned by PennDOT, and looking up the record by the VIN will also display the previous dead registration plate. So I was not at fault. I don't understand why the police officers weren't aware of this program and why this ended up happening to me. And being that this program has been going on since 2018, I can't believe that I'm the only person that this has happened to, or that I'm the only person that it will happen to, because they're doing it by alphabetical order, and right now they're on DEF. So since 2018, they are now on DEF. I have an E. My license plate was EVD. So anyway, we did get our new license plate on April 7th? I have it right here, and they told me I can cut it up and throw it away. So I would love to be compensated for the money that I was out. I understand the police officers were gracious in canceling the ticket for running the stop sign, and they also did not ticket me for driving with a dead tag, which I wasn't really doing.
Legal. Everything was legal. Insurance was legal, registration was legal.
The towing company was also trying to be as generous as they could, and they didn't charge me for the storage for that night, and they also let me pick up my car the next day, which normally they don't release cars over the weekend, and I would have been out another $150. So excuse my shakiness, I'm very nervous, but I appreciate your time and listening and anything that you can do to help me in this matter or help the public or the police officers be aware so that this doesn't happen to somebody else would be appreciated.
Thank you.
I could provide some comment if you guys want me to provide
Sure.
some comment. So I found out about this incident. First of all, you wouldn't have been pulled over if you didn't
Run
go
a
through the
stop
stop
sign.
And
sign.
I'm willing to admit to my mistake.
And the systems we have, checking in PennDOT, it came back as a dead tag. Okay, so that's number one. So a dead tag means it's not registered, or what would appear to be not registered appropriately. And if a vehicle is not registered, it can't be driven on a roadway in Pennsylvania. So that's why it ended up being towed from the scene. We looked into the matter with PennDOT. PennDOT initially indicated that they had let most police departments know about the matter. A bulletin had come out from JNet, which is the Justice Network, that most police departments received some guidance from. The officer wasn't aware of the program, first of all. A lot of the officers weren't aware of the program. And according to PennDOT, they won't make your tag dead for about 10 weeks after they send the new plate out.
That's not what they
I'm not
did.
going to argue if that's true or not. I'm just telling you what PennDOT said. Nonetheless, it seemed odd that when we inquired about it, JNet put out a bulletin the next day reminding police departments of this program.
That's lovely.
And I would guess
That's
that
very nice.
there probably wasn't a bulletin put out. But I just want you to kind of understand the police department. He wasn't aware of this program, number one. It came back as a dead tag. So as it came back as a dead tag, he had done his job that it wasn't an appropriate tag on the vehicle.
Well, why, if they ran that VIN number, it would have came back.
It's not normal for the officers to run a VIN number. It's not required to run a VIN number if the tag is coming back dead. And I'm not saying necessarily anyone are wrong. I don't need to have an argument if anyone's wrong or right here.
Right, I don't want to
I'm just
argue.
telling you, they weren't aware of it, and the registration tag came back dead, a dead tag.
Even though our registration was valid, everything was valid. And I even went home, because I live right around the corner, and came back with the paperwork that they sent us showing it before my car was towed away.
Anyone could make up any document to show us, okay? So I just want you to be aware that it appears to me PennDOT failed to do an adequate job letting law enforcement know about their program, letting them know their procedure. To me, makes no sense that you would make a tag dead before you
Right, before
confirm.
we even got the new tag.
That's not us,
They
though.
didn't give us-
That's the Department of Transportation.
Everybody's pushing it on everybody
Right,
else.
but I mean, it's like, if-
PennDOT saying it's not their fault. You're saying it's not your fault.
I'm not saying it's not our fault. I'm not saying
Well,
it's
the
not our fault.
officers weren't aware, so I have to suffer the consequences.
Okay, and the officer, so the main gripe right now is your tow bill.
yeah, 300.
And the $76 that I had to pay for a new license plate. It adds up to over $400.
What about the plate we're getting from PennDOT?
We
It's
had to
right
go-
here.
We had to go get a
They
new
told me to
tag.
cut it up and throw it away.
We had to go get a new tag the very next day to avoid storage fees out the wazoo, right? So we had to, and to not wait for a tag to come through the mail a week later, that car would have sat there and it would have accumulated money and money and money. You know what I mean?
So you hadn't even gotten your new tag yet?
No, they
So-
sent it March
so-
26th.
We just got it.
We have
We
records
just
of
got
all
it.
of
So,
this.
so PennDOT is making tags dead
Before they even sent the thing
which-
out.
Again, so I don't think that's a great decision of what PennDOT's doing. Nonetheless, I'm not saying we shouldn't have known about this program. But unfortunately, our officer didn't know about the program. I don't think PennDOT actually did a good job letting police departments know about this program. And he believed it was a dead tag that wasn't supposed to be on that car and it was unregistered. And I hear you about.
So it's
I hear
everybody's
about your
mistake
running
that
the-
we have to pay for.
I tried to explain it to
So-
him. I even had the paperwork.
So I instruct the officer, didn't pursue the violation for running the stop sign and didn't pursue.
And I acknowledge
having-
that too.
Having an incorrect tag on a vehicle. But I could discuss with you after the fact of potentially reimbursing you for your towing bill. But I'm not going to make a decision on that immediately.
Okay,
All right?
all right.
So I think it was just a bad program PennDOT's instituted, and shame on us for not knowing about the program, but I'm not sure if PennDOT actually let all the police departments know about it in an appropriate manner.
Okay.
All right? So that's the, I
We
can talk
would
to you
really
a little bit more
appreciate
about
a reirreimbursement, but we really want acknowledgement and that it's not gonna happen.
Right, because if it
Again.
was a single mother with 3 kids, they would have been
it.
stopped.
I know, and I would really complain to PennDOT about what they're doing.
Oh, I did.
Oh, we
I mean,
did.
I got 1,000
So if I
emails.
can just interrupt for a second, I
Yeah.
appreciate what you've said.
Yep.
The decision whether or not to allocate any money towards this, as generous as the chief's being, ultimately, that's for the board of supervisors through me to decide. If it's okay, what I'd ask is if you could submit, and you could, if you talk about this with the chief or to me, if you could submit the documentation of what the charges were.
Everything, we got everything.
We have it right
Great.
here.
Let me, after the meeting, let me get a copy of all that stuff.
Okay.
We'll go back, take a look at that, we'll talk to the chief, I'll talk to the board, and ultimately, we'll decide if, how much,
Yeah.
whatever, but
Any-
I appreciate this conversation, but I just want to make sure that we follow a proper process here. So let me get your documentation, we'll consider the request, and within a week, I'll get back to you with what the decision is.
Okay,
you so
we
much.
appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
Thank you
So
so
if you
much.
just stick around, the meeting will be over in 5-10 minutes.
Yep,
Thank you so much.
thank you.
All right, thank you.
Don't stop, I'm gonna give them 5 or 10 seconds.
Actually, I have another speech here. Anybody else here tonight? Mr. Donley?
Just something that was overlooked during the announcements. There's a meeting scheduled for planning commission tomorrow night. That was just this afternoon canceled. So just as a note.
Well, in that case, planning commission meeting canceled for tomorrow night.
Yes.
All right. Tomorrow's tax day, so you haven't filed your taxes yet. Make sure you do that. If there are any further comments, going once, going twice, and we are adjourned.
Thank you.